Hi, this is Eric with Galt, and today I'm here with Ty Ono of Greysn Business Identity Design. How are you doing today, Ty?
I'm doing good, Eric. I'd much rather be there in person with you, but scheduling and all this other crazy stuff, which I wouldn't let stop me anyway, but it's good to be with you, man.
Yeah, I completely understand. You're the man in demand. I know I've done some work with you in the past and you do an excellent job, so I completely understand that you would have a very busy schedule. So,
I appreciate that.
well, the first question I have for you is people often confuse branding with advertising. Could you explain to us what the difference is between the two?
Yeah, sure. And I'm going to group advertising also with marketing because
Yes.
typically those are being used interchangeably with branding. So, from my perspective, for branding and advertising, the end game with those are to influence action. So basically to get people to do something, right? Whether it's twirling a sign or promoting something like eat at Bob's. That's branding. I'm sorry, that's marketing and advertising, as opposed to branding, which by my definition is to influence perception. So how people perceive you in terms of how they see, hear, and understand what you're about. And so branding at its heart is really, it boils down to what is your reputation? Again, how do people think of you when they hear your name? Um, here's a big picture example, Mercedes. When you hear Mercedes, you think about like high-end luxury, right? Maybe performance. Those are adjectives that are assigned to Mercedes because they've built their brand
Mhm.
to convey a certain type of image. And so branding is really about the construction of your persona, again, how people see, hear, and understand what you are about.
Oh, that's great. Thank you very much for that. The next question I have for you is what are some of the key steps into building a successful brand?
Well, again, with branding, all about perception. And I think one of the most effective ways to craft people's perception of you and to build your reputation is to differentiate yourself. Branding, again, is differentiation, right? You want to be able to be distinguished from everyone else. And in my opinion, one of the most effective ways to go about it is um, to really design your brand as being different,
Mhm.
not just better. So analogy that I use all the time is back in the 80s, there was a big campaign, commercial campaign done by Pepsi called the Pepsi Challenge, where in the commercial, they'd have a blind taste test with them and Coke.
Mm.
And why is that? Because they wanted to prove how they were better than Coke. However, the problem was at the end of the commercial, you would still remember Coke.
Mm.
And that is the pitfall that a lot of people get into is they try to evangelize how they're better than the next person or whatnot. But what ends up happening is, to use another analogy, is you end up placing yourself on your competitor's ladder, one rung below them, because psychologically, your audience needs a point of reference as to
Mm.
why you say that you're better. Well,
Right.
in doing so, they default to what they think is the best, and automatically you're being compared against them. But when you are able to espouse yourself as being different,
Mhm.
now you've effectively placed yourself on your own ladder at the top rung. Because in the end, people always remember different in a way that they don't remember better. And I love that line. I think it's always very effective. But to drive home the point, again, work on being different, not just better, but at the same time, you can be one of, in this case, 30,000 realtors in the state of Colorado. You
Mhm.
can put on a clown suit and you're effectively different,
Right.
but that's just being different for the sake of being different.
Right.
So to layer on that, on different, is to be able to solve a problem that is meaningful to your prospects.
Mhm.
So when you're able to attach when you're able to frame a problem that matters and then attach how you solve that problem in a way that's meaningfully different, now you've created value that rises above everyone else.
That's great. Yeah, I like that desirably different thing where it's just like, yeah, because you can go put anchovies on a cake. It's different, but it's not.
That is spot on.
But it's not desirably different, right?
Exactly,
So
exactly.
yeah,
I couldn't have said it better, Eric.
no, I like that. No, you said it great. It's like being different in a way that people desire what you do, and not just being different just for the sake of being different. I
Absolutely.
yeah, I really like that. That's a really great point. And I know one of the things you do too is helping people, get their message out there. Because I heard a little bit of that, and what you talk about is actually getting people to understand why they want to do business with you. I know that's probably pushing a little bit more towards the advertising side, but if you want to touch a little bit more on that, because I think it's really important for that message, because sometimes it's often a short message because people's attention spans aren't that long. But
Hmm.
maybe you can expound on that a little bit more as far as like differentiating yourself with your beyond the logo, but with your actual message that
Yeah,
you
no,
have.
so yeah, thanks. So as I mentioned before, uh, we are in, it doesn't matter what you do as far as your business, you're in business to solve somebody's problem. And so I think what becomes important is to be able to effectively communicate not just how you solve that problem, but the problem in and of itself. When you're able to um, when you're able to evangelize the problem to the point where people are to the point where people are really clamoring for the solution because it's just been ingrained in them, like this is a problem that I didn't realize I have, or
Mhm.
a problem that I didn't realize could be solved.
Right.
um, Now when you're able to come in and say, yes, here's the problem, here's why it matters, here's why it's so big, but now here's why, how I can solve it, and again in a way that is different from everyone else. That again, as far as branding is concerned, really levels up people's perception of you. A great example of this is, um, say 12 years ago, if you said, I'm going to get in a complete stranger's car and let them drive me around,
Mhm.
everybody would have said, you're crazy, right?
Right.
But the founders of Uber, they were able to not just create a unique solution to a problem, they, in their marketing and advertising,
Mhm.
really promoted the fact that, you know what, the old way of standing on a street corner in the rain, trying to hail down a taxi that you don't know when it's going to show up,
Right.
was stupid. But
Mhm.
that's what people have been doing for what,
Right.
better part of 100 years, right? Because that's all they knew.
Mhm.
But when they were able to frame the problem in a way that really was able to tap into people's awareness and then present the solution to them, now Uber is a, God, going on a $60 billion company.
Yes.
So again, it's all about thinking about the problem first and
Mhm.
how you're able to solve that problem uniquely.
That's great. Thank you very much for that answer. I think you're really dropping some gems here that I think people will be able to take and really help them move their business forward. So thank you for sharing that. The final question I have for you today is, what are some of the biggest mistakes that entrepreneurs make when trying to build their brand?
Okay. I'm going to focus it just to one, and that is in building your brand. Oftentimes, the focus is strictly on that, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, well, how do I look? How do I sound? What the message is? But it's never as impactful if you don't think of the category that you occupy first. Now, what do I mean by category? Let me quiz you a little bit, Eric. So, okay, I'm gonna name out a couple of things, and you tell me what the category is. Toyota Tacoma, Ford Ranger, Chevy Silverado. What are all of those?
Pickup trucks.
Pickup trucks. That is the category.
Hmm.
Let's do one more. Papa John's, Little Caesars, Domino's.
Inexpensive pizza.
Inexpensive pizza, takeout pizza. That's the category. When you know what your category is, you're able to more effectively tailor your brand to that category so that you now have a better understanding of what it is you need to really have an impactful message, an impactful visual, or how you sound when you talk about yourself. I always use Kodak. Remember Kodak?
Yes.
Kodak is a legendary brand, but it doesn't matter anymore. Why? Because the category of film is dead.
Dead.
So again, it doesn't matter if you have a terrific brand, if you aren't creating it and tailoring it and evangelizing it in the context of the category, then it's not going to be as effective. So I always say, think category first, brand second, mold your brand into the category, and that's how you're going to be able to dominate the category. When you become known, whether it is smartphones, who's the category king of smartphones?
Apple.
Apple, right? The iPhone. Whether you love or hate Apple, iPhones dominate 93% of the market. Category smartphones. You could have your own microbrewery in the neighborhood. So at a smaller level, right? But if you become known for something specific, like again, whether it's service based, like the service is amazing, or another great example is Seinfeld. Remember the soup Nazi?
Yeah.
All right, on the complete opposite spectrum, horrible customer service, but he was known for having the best soup in all of New York. So he's essentially the category king of soup.
Yeah.
So kind of, expanding a little bit, branching a little bit from just simply the category is also to be known within that category for something specific. So don't necessarily be a generalist, a jack of all trades, master of none. Be a master of something, be known for it.
Yes.
And that's where you're going to be known as, quote unquote, the only game in town.
Oh, that's great. Outstanding. Now, yeah, you brought up some great points there. There is one thing I'd be remiss. I know I said that was going to be my last question, but I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the whole Uber analogy that I've heard you make in the past about almost kind of being first to market kind of thing, a comparison to where people still say a certain word, even that a word, your name, your business name basically defines the category.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, exactly, to kind of expand on what you're just using with the Uber example, Uber has become a verb, right? What are some other individual companies that have become so synonymous with the category, Uber, with ride sharing, that they become a verb?
Yeah.
How about search engines? When you think of search engines, searching the internet, who do you think of first?
Google.
Google, and that is a verb. I'm going to Google it. Well, you may not use Google, you may use Yahoo, but you're still going to say Google.
Right.
Or you need to, maybe you have a runny nose. What are you gonna grab to blow your nose?
Kleenex.
Kleenex, facial tissue, the category, right? Same thing. Or I need to make a copy. Maybe this name isn't used so much anymore with the younger generation, but for us, when I had to go make a copy, what would I say?
I'm gonna assume Xerox. Or
yes, exactly. I'm gonna Xerox it. So
are they even still in business anymore? People still say that.
Right, exactly. And that is what a legendary brand is on a large scale. Of course, all of what I said can definitely be distilled down into, small businesses, solopreneurs, absolutely. It's really about being able to, again, figure out what problem do I solve in a way that's meaningfully different than everyone else, and how can I explain it in a way that they will get it and they will come to soon associate only my name with that.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Well, Ty, thank you very much for your time. Like I said, I know you're a very busy man. You probably got to run off to another appointment now here pretty soon. But I really appreciate the information that you shared. Like I said, those are just golden nuggets you were dropping today, gems as some people would call it. So thank you very much for taking the time to come on with us today. We really appreciate it. And
Hey,
now,
Eric, it was,
I have to go back. Sorry to cut you off, but
yeah.
I definitely want people to be able to reach out to you. So, what's the best way for people to get in touch with Grayson Business Identity Design?
You can go to my website, grayson.com, Greysn, and you can reach out to me that way. But
Yeah.
hey, Eric, man, I appreciate the opportunity that for you thinking of me. I hope that I was able to provide value, but
Absolutely.
I think what you're doing for small businesses through Galt is fantastic. And I
Thank
highly
you.
encourage everyone who is a small business owner, a solopreneur, somebody who does not want to just be in their own life raft out in this big world that is business and entrepreneurialism, to hook up with Galt and with Eric Lipsy.
Well, thank you very much, Ty. I appreciate it. And thank you again for your time. Have a great
Thanks,
day.
Eric.
All right.
You too.
Until next time, guys, take care.